Hey, it's Noah. Welcome back to iHollywood TV, where doctors are worried about a triple threat amid a concerning rise in COVID cases as kids are back in school. COVID, RSV, and flu, they are expected to surge as the warm months wind down and classrooms fill up this fall. Dr. Emily Volk is president of the College of American Pathologists, and she is joining us now to discuss what you need to know to stay healthy this fall. Good morning, Dr. Volk. Nice to have you on the show.
Thank you, Noah. Glad to be here.
Now, Dr. Volk, how can understanding which virus or infection that you have, can help someone feel better faster and limit the community spread?
Well, knowing which virus is causing the trouble can really help your physician make a decision about how to treat you should you require medical treatment. We know that all of these viruses can, mimic each other, right? So RSV, COVID, and the flu all can have symptoms of coughing and chills and fever and whatnot. Occasionally, COVID-19 will result in the loss of taste or smell, but largely these all three of these viruses overlap with each other. I was glad you mentioned the increase in hospitalizations. We really do need to take COVID-19 still very seriously. About half the folks hospitalized in the last couple of months did not have underlying illnesses to increase their risk of COVID-19, and yet they were still hospitalized. So really knowing what we're dealing with can help protect you and help the doctors treat you most appropriately.
Well, now let's talk about booster shots. So, with new COVID shots soon to be available, why is staying up to date, educating yourself, and getting the facts on vaccines so important? And Dr. Volk, what would you say to those that have been vaccine injured, because those people are very upset that they took the vaccine and it was, mandated for them to take it for maybe a specific job, and now, they have complications with it. Would you recommend them to get a booster shot, and how would you educate them on that?
Well, first of all, I would say that getting vaccinated is a safe and effective way to wrap a protective blanket around yourself and your loved ones as we head into this flu season. We know that vaccines have a very good safety profile. The new COVID booster protects you for the variant of COVID that is currently circulating. The seasonal flu vaccine also covers you for the kinds of flu viruses we expect to see in the coming months. We know vaccines are safe and reliable. We know that sometimes it hurts to get a shot, and that is the most common side effect from getting a vaccine is pain at the injection site. Occasionally, folks will feel a little bit under the weather for a day following a flu shot or following COVID-19 shots, but typically it's very mild and certainly better than having to be hospitalized or put in an ICU with one of those illnesses.
Now let's talk about proper hygiene. Do you have some simple hygiene tips along with recommendations about masks that can help keep us healthy? And do you think kids should still be wearing masks in classrooms, knowing that COVID has been around for some time now? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, let me just start by saying hand hygiene is actually a very powerful way to keep yourself safe from all kinds of viruses and bacteria in the coming months. Certainly using hand sanitizer is something we've all gotten very used to over the last couple of years. So continuing to practice good hand hygiene is really critical. As far as masks, they can be very useful to folks who are traveling during flu season. It does reduce your risk of picking up a respiratory virus. As far as my thoughts are on children wearing masks, for some kids, it's very difficult to keep a mask on. For older kids, it may be the thing to do to reduce their risk if they're in a crowded classroom without good ventilation. But these are decisions that parents will need to make considering all of the different variables that their kids are facing.
Now, Dr. Volk, can taking the at-home or laboratory test help prevent viruses from becoming another pandemic? Because I will be honest with you, I still test. I test every so often.
Well, without a doubt, good laboratory tests are very important as they provide a foundation on which all
Hmm.
the rest of the treatment is based. Doing an at-home COVID test is still an important tool. Any at-home test that you do, including the COVID-19 test, it's important to follow the instructions to the letter. Make sure that the test is not expired. If you want to check if the expiration date has been lengthened, you can go to cdc.gov to check and see if the government has extended the expiration date on a particular test.
Hmm.
But if there's any question about the test results that you get from an at-home test, going to get a full-on laboratory test will give you the most accurate and reliable information available.
Now, Dr. Volk, as we're talking about at-home, testing kits, is there a specific at-home test kit that is more reliable to use versus others that are out there on the shelves?
There's a variety of perfectly reasonable at-home kits. I think the most important thing to ensure the reliability of any test kit
Hmm.
is to follow those instructions. Take the time to read them. You might think you know how it works because you've used another brand of a test kit. But regardless of whether or not it's a test kit you think you know or a new kind of test kit, go ahead and review those instructions before you start swabbing.
Now, Dr. Volk, another question is, a lot of people are going to be outside for the fall, season, especially as, the temps are getting cooler. It's not so hot outside. A lot of people might be wondering, can they still get COVID, flu, RSV? Can you get it as quick as you could if you were inside surrounded by, a group of people?
Sure. Well, that's a great question. Without a doubt, if there's better ventilation, the likelihood of getting respiratory virus from another person is lower.
Mm,
Uh, but
mhm,
if you're snuggled up pretty close to a loved one, whether or not you're inside or outside and they're sick, you can certainly still
mm.
contract the virus. But if the ventilation is better, whether or not it's inside or you're out in the great outdoors, that does reduce your risk having good ventilation.
Now, doctor, when do you suspect that we could see a peak or a big rise in COVID, flu, and RSV in this triple demic?
Well, we're already seeing it, and we really do need to take these seriously. And again, I mean, take
Hmm.
advantage of these tools that we have. Vaccines we know to be safe and reliable for the vast majority of people. And I, as a mom, want to wrap my kids in bubble wrap. Getting my kids fully vaccinated is one way I can do that to keep them safe from dangers out in the world.
Now, lastly, Dr. Volk, how long do you suspect that COVID, RSV, the flu, all these, nasty viruses could last? Like I'm sure a lot of people watching would love to know, when could we see this, kind of tamper off?
I think we're going to see COVID-19 be with us for years to come. I think,
Hmm.
just like we deal with seasonal flu, I think we'll be dealing with COVID-19. RSV has been with us for a long time, and I think we're going to see that continue. The good news is we continue to develop tools that help us test for these viruses and help us prevent hospitalizations from contracting these viruses. So, we have technology and tools to keep us well, and we should really take advantage.
Absolutely. Dr. Emily Volk, thank you so much for the great conversation. Thank you for answering all my questions. Tell us, where should we go for more information?
You can go to newsroom.cap.org for great information like we talked about today and even more details.
Nice. We'll have that website appearing below so all of our audience members can be directed to go to that specific website. Thank you, Dr. Volk. You take care. You have a great day. Nice to virtually meet you.
Thank you. You too.